I want you to take a look at something with me for a moment. This is my friend Alex Dion Wilson's TikTok page, and at the time of this recording, he's got around 500,000 followers. And that's crazy because he just started using TikTok a couple of months ago, and he's built up this following from zero in that time. But that's not actually the crazy thing that I want to show you. This is on September 21st, 2019. Alex had 749 subscribers on his YouTube channel. He was posting regularly on YouTube, but he was having trouble gaining traction. And this really shouldn't come as a surprise, right? YouTube is a very saturated platform, and the more saturated a platform is, the harder it becomes to break through on said platform. But here's where things get interesting. As Alex started breaking through with his content on TikTok, that growth began to organically carry over to YouTube, so much so that at the end of September, Alex had about 750 subscribers on YouTube. We already knew that. 2 months later, and he's got more than 5,000. His YouTube subscriber count grew by a factor of 7 in less than 2 months. And if you look at his account projections, according to Social Blade, in a little over a year, he's projected to have more than 100,000 subscribers on YouTube if this pace of growth continues. And while this growth rate may curb off a bit, the future is bright nonetheless on YouTube for Alex. And all because he took the chance to jump in on TikTok when others wouldn't. And it isn't just YouTube, because Alex was also struggling to gain significant traction on Instagram. Why? Well, because again, much like YouTube, Instagram is a saturated platform. Doesn't mean it's impossible to break through, but finding your audience becomes more and more difficult as a platform becomes more and more saturated. So on August 29th, 2019, Alex had 5,344 followers on Instagram. Fast forward to November 17th, and that following had more than doubled to 12,089 followers. And here's the lesson I want you to grasp. Social media is truly only about a decade old. And even though it has permeated our lives and culture in colossal, irreversible ways, this cultural shift is really still in its infancy. And right now, TikTok is having its moment. We'll remember the end of 2019 as TikTok's breakthrough. And regardless of what happens to TikTok from here, what we're living through currently is the perfect micro example of a macro trend that will continue to repeat itself for at least another decade. And the trend is this: digital real estate becomes available on a new platform at an incredibly cheap cost. Early adopters then gobble up that cheap real estate, and if they're smart, they can parlay that attention from the new platform to existing, more saturated platforms. And that's what we're seeing Alex do right now. However, these moments in time are generally brief and they don't last forever. But, and here's the most encouraging part, these moments do keep happening. And my prediction is that they will continue to happen, probably for another 10 to 15 years as social media matures. And the real estate analogy is a helpful one. Consider that owning land in Calabasas wasn't always as expensive and coveted as it is now. At one point, it was just another spot on the map that no one particularly cared about. Drake didn't even live there yet. And if you had the wherewithal to purchase a piece of that land then, consider how valuable it would be now, just because the attention being paid to that geographical location has risen dramatically. The good news is that, in my estimation, digital real estate is much easier to navigate than physical real estate, because the risk of digital real estate is really just your time, not money. So what if Alex Dion Wilson had invested a ton into TikTok and the platform never went anywhere? He would have lost some of his time, sure, but not hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's all it takes to enter the game. Just your time and a phone. Two things most of us already have, so the playing field is level. What's happening with TikTok has happened many times before and will continue to happen again. We saw it with blogging and SEO, with Facebook, with Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, on and on. When and where this will happen again, I don't know. No one does. But I do know this: when this does happen again, people will dismiss the new platform. They'll say it's too different or too weird, too juvenile, the demographics, they're all wrong. It's only young people that care about it. And most people, most churches will miss the opportunity. Why? Because they'll make excuses. But for a small group willing to take the risk, and while the rest of us are working overtime to break through on more saturated and mature platforms, they'll gobble up the attention on the new platform in a few short months. And that attention can then carry over organically onto other, more established platforms. So if you missed your chance on TikTok, don't worry, this will happen again. We're living through the biggest communication shift in 500 years, and you've still got time. So if I were you, I'd learn everything I can about what happened with TikTok, so I'm more prepared for when it happens again.